catastrophic few days for Harry and Meghan, hasn't it? I mean, I think their reputation was already fairly low, but to have a woman, a black woman, who's head of your charity that you founded in memory of your mother, to accuse you of the very things that you've been accusing other people of for many years, bullying and harassment and misogyny. I mean, it couldn't get much worse, really. I mean, I expect that Dr. Chandauka has got her faults. I expect she's not perfect, but this is unfortunately following a pattern, isn't it? We had allegations of bullying at the palace when Meghan was a working royal. That was kind of hushed up and kicked into the long grass by the palace. We've had a sort of revolving door of staff in California, people working for them. No one seems to work for them for more than 5 minutes. We had the guy at Spotify calling them grifters, and now we've got this. So it's following a pattern. It's very difficult to escape the conclusion. They are very difficult people to work for, if not bullies.
Samara, that's a long list of credible people who have, hit back against Harry. Do you feel like he's on the ropes this week after what Dr. Sophie Chandauka has come out with? That Phil's just listed all these issues of misogyny, misogynoir, cover-up, etc. How do you feel about it?
I mean, Harry's not just on the ropes. I think for brand Meghan and Harry, this is really, really rough, especially coming hot on the heels of, obviously, Meghan having her big launch this week. She's going to be putting all her jam and crepes on sale. I think it's come at probably the worst time for them. But it's a story that we've heard so many times. Meghan being a dictator in high heels, as famously said in the Vanity Fair piece. Jason Knauf coming out and just saying, they were bullies in the palace. This is no surprise, but I think what Dr. Sophie gives is a lot of validity. I mean, she's worked at Meta. She's been a high-powered solicitor for a long time. She's clearly been in a lot of stressful environments, and it says a lot that Harry and Meghan are the ones to tip her over the edge and say, I can't deal with this anymore. It's been so rough working for them. They're bullies. Misogynoir, I mean, that's something that Harry and Meghan said that the royal family dragged them through. So it's really interesting to see him get a taste of his own medicine right now.
Well, yeah, it almost feels like it's the first time someone has really hit back against Harry. So many times he's thrown insults at everybody else. It's the first time he's actually in a little bit of a battle. One of the issues that I've picked up is Dr. Sophie accused Harry of possibly being a toxic brand. So it's toxic to the charity. And this charity was really, really important to Harry. He set this up, almost in memory of his mother, Princess Diana, in conjunction with Prince Siso of Lesotho. It was really important to him, but she said that he's toxic and they were losing sponsors, Phil.
I think what's happened is she was trying to modernise it. She thought that the whole operation ought to be moved to Africa. She thought that it wasn't a particularly good look for rich white people to be playing polo and for that to be the main source of income. So I think she was trying to find other sources of income, and the catalyst for this big row seems to have been when they were all on stage together at this polo event, and Meghan wanted her off the stage so that she could pose up with the trophy. Then it was all, as I think you're coming on to, sort of mixed in with making their Netflix show about polo, so they tried to sort of commercialise it. So the whole thing's become a mess, but the big thing now is what's going to happen to this charity? Is she going to stay there? Is she going to be able to survive this? Or is Harry going to wrest back control? I mean, he should never have lost control in the first place. Him and Prince Siso of Lesotho should have kept a much better eye on what was going on. And I think it's very, very sad, that it's come to this, that financially it's not doing well. What's going to happen to the charity in the future? And the people that are suffering, of course, are the people with AIDS and HIV who are supposed to be benefiting from it, because if the money's not coming in, they're not going to see the benefit.
100%. You mentioned there about the Netflix issue. This is a really aggravating factor for me. Netflix cameras, as Dr. Sophie explained, Harry announced that he was going to bring Netflix to this charity fundraiser, and it caused, I think, lots of disturbances, I think she said. And then Meghan turned up, and then we have these text messages that allegedly, or messages that Harry unpleasant messages that he allegedly sent to Dr. Sophie. Phil, I want to take your view on this. We're 5 years since Megxit. The Queen said you can't have a hybrid situation, you can't be half in, half out. Is this incident here that Dr. Sophie has highlighted, does this justify what the Queen's decision 5 years ago to just send them on their own?
Yeah, absolutely. The Queen saw it straight away. She saw the dangers of commercialising the royal family, combining a sort of a hybrid model of doing royal jobs and cashing in with commercial stuff. And that's exactly the sort of thing that she was trying to avoid. That's exactly the thing that she told them not to do. And that's what happened with this polo match, that she thought the doctor thought that it was just going to be presenting the trophy and it was all going to be part of the charity, and all of a sudden he turned up with a Netflix crew and wanted to make it part of his programme, and that was part of the problem. So yes, that is exactly what the Queen wanted to avoid, and we can see playing out there, with Harry cocking it up, if you like.
This seems to be a really important issue to me. The whole idea that Netflix cameras were going to turn up.
Yeah.
And there was. You remember the footage? You remember the footage? I remember when it happened, and we thought, are we just reading? Are we reading too much into this? But it turns out that there was not just Harry and Dr. Sophie falling out, but clearly there's a bit of beef there between Meghan and Dr. Sophie.
Clearly, Matt. I mean, Meghan basically was a whirling dervish through this whole polo match, bringing not just film cameras, but also very high-profile celebrities that weren't meant to be there in the first place. So that then changed the entire sort of vibe of the polo match that was meant to be for charity.
So this was Serena Williams, wasn't it? She brought Serena Williams along and made it a whole big circus. Yeah.
A massive circus, and you can see that when obviously there's that now infamous video of them getting up on the stage. This clearly hasn't been choreographed, or it was a last-minute thought-through thing. Meghan almost pushing this very accomplished Dr. Sophie to the side, Dr. Sophie having to duck under the trophy that Harry's holding, all because Meghan clearly wants to be in the centre of the shot. It was really badly thought through, and I can see how that probably was the final nail in the coffin for her, that polo.
And to make it worse,
match.
He then sent an email, didn't he, to the doctor asking that she should publicly support Meghan, which she didn't want to do. So that made it even worse. And clearly Meghan was behind that. So
do you think, I was going to ask what you thought, because my understanding was that Harry and Meghan asked their staff to send emails, asked Dr. Sophie to apologise, which is baffling. And then when she refused after a back and forth, Harry allegedly sent an unpleasant and imperious message demanding she explains herself. Do you agree? Do you think Meghan asked Harry to do that, or is it something that Harry wanted to do to protect his wife? Why would he do that?
I think Meghan probably did ask him, to be honest. Or certainly they chatted about it themselves. I'm sure they did. And the doctor quite wisely said she didn't want to do it. She knew what would happen. She didn't have anything against Meghan at that point, but she just knew how it would be exploited, so she refused to do it. And you've got to be quite strong-willed to refuse to do something that when a prince who actually sort of started a charity tells you to do something. So I think she's a strong character. So to come back to your original question, has he met his match? I think in some ways he probably has. Yes.
Who do you think, or Samara, who do you think wins? Because it's an ugly, ugly situation being played out in the press at the moment. Day after day, we're hearing news stories. Who wins between Harry and Meghan or Dr. Sophie?
I completely trust Dr. Sophie on this one, because she just comes off a raft of people slating Meghan and Harry and having these horrific experiences with this troublesome twosome. I just think that, they really, really have a bad record, and this is just kind of the cherry on top of it all for them. So I think that Dr. Sophie wins out of this. She comes in with class, with grace and sophistication, and Harry and Meghan kind of tossed to the wayside for this one.
One thing that strikes me in the last couple of days, because this has been a developing thing, we could talk about for about almost a week now, this has been going on. It's slowly turned, and we're beginning to get what seems to be counter-briefing against Dr. Sophie. Where is that coming from? We're not quite sure. We don't know who these anonymous sources are, but lots of stories are coming out. I mean, we're talking about the allegation she spent £400,000 on consultants. I think there's one astonishing story accusing her of playing the race card while she was in the charity and that she was poisonous. But the one thing that leaps out, there was an interview with Harry's friend, and I want to ask you about this. A named friend who said he was speaking on behalf of Harry, or with permission from Harry, not on behalf of Harry, but with permission from Harry. And he said, it feels like Dr. Chandauka had her nose put out of joint because she was not the most important woman of colour on the stage.
Yeah, you said something about she'd had her nose put out of joint. And then you said that Harry was so upset it felt like he'd had one of his fingers cut off. He seemed to have an obsession with body parts, this bloke. I mean, I think we should give him the elbow, don't you? I don't know, but, he's clearly been briefed or asked by Harry to stand up for him. We never seem to hear from Harry and Meghan themselves, do we? It's always sort of anonymous sources and stories that appear in papers and briefings. And, of course, one of the worst things, I think you broke this story as well, Matt, that, she's been subjected to terrible trolling by the Sussex squad, the people who sort of purport to support them. And we never hear from Harry and Meghan condemning that, do we? That's one thing, that they never come out and say, please don't do this on social media, when they're always going on about the harms of social media to other people. So that's another aspect of it, which I do find very distasteful, the fact that they don't tell these people to stop this, vicious trolling. And she's now had to come off social media.
Are they becoming a toxic brand, as Dr. Sophie said earlier?
becoming. I mean, they have been. I mean, they've been building up to this the past 5 years. They're extremely toxic. No one wants to go near them. And I think that one of the other comments that the friend made was that apparently, Dr. Sophie was jealous of Meghan. Why is this the common thread that always keeps coming out? Oh, she was jealous of Meghan. It's like what they said about Catherine as well. Catherine was jealous of Meghan. It's the common line that they keep trying to play. And none of these women are jealous of Meghan. I mean, she's an actress that was on Suits. Dr. Sophie is someone who's highly accomplished, and so is Catherine. I don't think they're jealous of anyone in that situation. So I think toxicity is an understatement for these two.
I think I'm getting the impression that the royal family are consistently distancing themselves. They're not getting involved in this row. I think the King, the Queen, etc., and William and Catherine are getting on with their job, and they're not bothered, but they are probably watching it through from behind the sofa.